Hey everybody, this is the Esoteric Cross. My name is Will and I make videos about how to gain your personal power while learning ancient secrets. If that sounds like something that you're into, please hit the like button and subscribe and gain insight from this perspective in the cosmos. In this video, we're going to be getting into the big topic of the subconscious mind, and I'll likely be making several videos on this topic because there's so much that we could possibly get into. For those of you who are coming across this channel for the first time, we talk about esoteric topics here as it pertains to alchemy, Qabalah, ceremonial magic, and tarot. So I will be tying in the subconscious mind's role within some of these occult systems. The subconscious is responsible for so much of what we experience in life because it directs our behavior and how we feel and how we think. Because of this, it ultimately directs our experience. I'm sure that you all know that we have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. And the conscious mind is what is out here in the open, what we're actively choosing. It's related to the active mind. These are the thoughts that I'm currently thinking and what I'm focused on. This is the very tip of the iceberg. The conscious mind deals with the important information that is on the surface. It deals with the tiny bits of information that we feel like is important. Throughout the day, we are bombarded with so much symbolism. We are presented with so many different ideas, topics, words, but we only truly focus on a fraction of it or notice a fraction of it, but the subconscious mind records everything. The conscious mind deals with what is processed consciously. A great representation that I can use to explain the conscious mind is the energy of the Magician card within tarot. The Magician is card numbered 1 of the major arcana. The astrological association for this card is Mercury, and Mercury rules over the mind, intellect, thoughts, and communication. This is also representing masculine energy, and that doesn't necessarily mean manly or pertaining to men. Another word that we could use for this is active or positive, but not in a moral sense. It's called masculine because it's protruding and penetrating versus feminine, which is receiving. The conscious mind directs the flow of consciousness. The Magician is the house of consciousness. And all of this is an allegory for the mind, as the mind is the house of conscious energy. Consciousness flows through this mind, and it grows this garden in the area that we direct it. This is where we get that cheesy saying, where attention goes, energy flows. This is a very important thing to realize, though, within life. All that you really have is this present moment in your current state and quality of consciousness, and you can shift it consciously with your mind. This is the Magician creating his reality. Getting into the topic of the subconscious mind, we could take a look at the High Priestess to allegorically represent this. This is the feminine and more passive energy. Again, this doesn't necessarily mean woman or female, but this represents what is receptive. It takes in that projective energy, and here it can grow something. Like I said before, the subconscious takes in so much information all the time, and it's not necessarily processed by the conscious mind. Only the things that are extremely important to the situation at hand are processed. So only relevant information is processed by the conscious mind. This tarot card shows us a woman between 2 pillars, and these 2 pillars are Boaz and Jachin, which are the 2 pillars within Freemasonry and also the 2 pillars of the Tree of Life within Qabalah. The High Priestess herself is the middle pillar, and she is the guard of the subconscious mind. Behind her is this veil with the Tree of Life in Qabalah, and behind the veil is the true energy of the subconscious. This is where it gets really interesting. Take a look at what is behind that veil. It is water, and we cannot see all of it. We can only see a very small amount of it. Also, with this large amount of water, we can only see the surface. This is because the subconscious mind is vast and large, and we do not see the totality of it. We can only see tiny pieces of it when they reveal themselves every once in a while. We have to be very still, very present, and very observant to be able to catch the information that comes from the subconscious, where we can actively work with it within the conscious or the Magician type of energy. Being able to work actively with both of these energies is what helps us grow and cultivate a better life. You can see that growth and result represented in the Empress card within tarot. But we're not going to dive into that topic here, as we're going to focus more deeply into the subconscious. The subconscious mind is the mind that records all of the data around us, especially symbols and the way symbols, thoughts, and events make us feel. It can give us information, and it generally guides us, and it can also be altered by events and feelings. Every once in a while on this channel, I'll explain this allegory of the sun, the moon, and the earth, and what exactly that represents when you're looking at alchemical ideas and you're studying within the realm of the occult. Sometimes I do get pushed back on this idea because some people don't like the idea of the sun representing masculine energy and the moon representing feminine energy. But remember, this is not necessarily male or female, but if you were to look back at some of these old stories, a lot of the time the sun gods are masculine figures and the moon is usually represented with the sacred feminine goddess. Now I know that that's not always the case, because there are some times where you'll see a feminine deity associated with the sun or a masculine with the moon, but a majority of the time it's the other way around. In either way, don't let these things get in your way. There is some of one found within the other. That is the thing about duality, is that it's an illusion. Here's what's important when you see the sun come up a lot. It represents the conscious mind. It represents presence, and the sun is always burning. It's the source of light and life within the solar system. So this represents your focus, attention, and presence as your source of life and light. The moon represents the subconscious mind, and this is because the moon is reflecting the light of the sun. The moon doesn't necessarily make light of its own. It only reflects the light of the sun. The subconscious is always reflecting the light of the conscious mind. We have to be able to take things from that shadow and from that darkness and bring them into the light, so that way we can effectively deal with them. The earth is an allegory for the results and the manifestations. Without the sun, there would be no life here on earth. Without your conscious mind and your soul or psyche, there would be no life within your body, at least none that's worth living. Now, the subconscious mind is like the compass that guides us in life in a lot of ways. Mostly, it's not programmed with words. The key into the subconscious mind is through feelings. The subconscious really likes symbolism, ceremony, and feelings. And this is the reason that we have the realm of the occult. Things like ceremonial magic, tarot, and Qabalah, and all of the deep symbolism here, and when it comes to systems like Freemasonry, they're all effective ways of using the subconscious mind. If you have worked extensively within any of these systems, I think that you know exactly what I'm talking about. When the subconscious communicates with us, it generally does so with symbolism and feelings. And you will notice this when you examine your dreams. It's not that your dream usually tells you exactly what's going on. What's happening is that it's using information from the subconscious mind and presents it to you in the form of symbols and a general feeling within the dream. So if it's a nightmare, it might be bringing up the feelings of fear within a certain area of your life, and you have to decode the symbolism within the dream to be able to understand exactly what the subconscious mind is trying to tell you. And this is because this is something that you need to deal with and integrate. There are so many benefits to working with the subconscious mind, because it's the key to help us change our habits, behaviors, beliefs, and working with the subconscious mind can help you figure out what it is that you really want in life, and it can also help you bring in that life that you really want. It's the key within manifestations. There are many ways to work with the subconscious. One is shadow work. The shadow represents what we do not see within ourselves, things that are being pushed off to the side and not integrated. If you observe the shadow, you might see it pop up within other people around you, so it could be what gets on your nerves about other people. It usually represents things that you've repressed. For example, you could see other people within your life who really bother you because they act really childish, or maybe they like really childish things. Usually, shadow work is more important when these things really bother us on a continuous basis. So for this example, let's say somebody really bothers you because you feel like they are childish. Now you might want to make a list and question what ways are you childish within your own life. See, this is why shadow work is not necessarily a pleasant thing, because we have to use these other people as mirrors for ourselves. And it's not necessarily that we are childish ourselves within this example, but it can be that we had to grow up very quickly. Maybe our parents did not want us to act like a child, so we learned how to repress anything that made us seem childish. Now, when we see this behavior in other people, it could possibly be a turnoff. On the other hand, sometimes it can draw you in like a magnet. Ever notice if you're always the tough person, or like the parent within relationships, or why you always draw yourself to the same type of person or the same type of job? Trying to understand these things are what helps you. You understand a little bit more about what's going on within your shadow. What you do is bring these things to the light, into the light of your consciousness. And here is where we're able to make some changes. If something has been repressed, like being childish or getting to enjoy being a child, then what we actually need to do is bring this out. That's what's screaming at us, and that's what's making these things so difficult. That doesn't mean that we should have these outbursts and childish behavior, but it does mean that we need to find a healthy way to express our inner child, our innocence, our vulnerability, our play. Find ways of being silly without necessarily caring what other people are going to think about you. This is how you start integrating the shadow. Another fantastic way of working with the subconscious mind has to do with visualizations and specified meditations. A lot of the times when you get started into occult work, it's commonly recommended to start some sort of relaxation meditation. Breathing into the count of 4, holding to the count of 4, breathing out to the count of 4, and holding to the count of 4, and repeating. Just do this over and over, and focus on relaxing each muscle within the body. This can put us into a state where we are relaxed. Doing deep breaths and then going through some sort of guided visualization can be very useful with both programming the subconscious as well as bringing things to the surface. So you can build your own meditation this way by doing deep breathing, relaxing the body, and then following this up with some sort of visualization of what you would like your life to be like. Let's say if you want to manifest a relationship, focus on the relationship. If it's money, focus on your life with that money. Bring your attention to the sights, the tastes, the smells, and the feelings. What is it that you're doing? You want to add as much tactile sensation to this as possible. Sometimes adding in I am affirmations can be helpful. Things like I am love, I am abundant, I am healed, I am powerful, I am growth. At the end of this, it might even be more powerful to bring your attention to the actual things in your life that correspond to what it is that you want. So for example, if you want to manifest a relationship, then bring your attention to how you actually feel worthy of a relationship now and find confirmation for it. If it's money, find examples of your abundance here and now in your actual life. This gives the mind some sort of proof or confirmation that it's possible to get what it is that you want. That possibility or hope is what really helps motivate us to keep moving forward. The big key here is creating images within your mind that are associated with that life that you want. And these images are like symbols and they invoke feelings within you, and that's what programs the subconscious. And when you back that with a belief that this is actually possible, then you really have the key to unfold this process. This is the perfect recipe for manifestation. This is actually how ceremonial magic truly works. It's a very effective way at programming the subconscious mind. Ceremonial magic uses a lot of symbolism. As the name suggests, it's ceremonial, and it includes all these rituals that you perform on a daily basis. And when you perform these rituals, you are working with symbols, you're using breathwork, visualization, and you're adding in tactile sensation. This is establishing a strong link into the subconscious, and this is a very good time to start focusing on your goals and what it is that you want within your life, and what do you want to experience within your mind. The subconscious mind has a very strong effect on the body as well. So take a moment and imagine that you stand up if you're not standing. Walk to the kitchen, see the kitchen within your mind's eye, open the fridge, open the drawer where you may keep your lemons, pull out a lemon, and feel the bumpy surface of it. Find the knife that you typically use to cut your fruits and vegetables. Cut your lemon in half and cut it into quarters. Bring the lemon close to your face and breathe in and smell the lemon. Bring the quarter slice of lemon to your mouth and bite into the lemon and feel the sourness and the juiciness of the lemon. Your mouth might have watered just now. That is the fact that visualization and adding in tactile sensations within a visualization has a great effect on your body. Your body does not tell the difference between a visualization and reality. This is why you might have anxiety when you worry about something that might happen in the future. The subconscious mind does not care if what you think is good or bad. The subconscious mind does not care if it's a visualization or if it's something that's real that's happening to you at this moment. It doesn't know the difference. Use this to your advantage and understand this, because if you don't, then other people who do understand this have a lot more power over you than you might even realize. Visualize yourself doing the things that it is that you want to do with your life and achieving what it is that you want to achieve and believe that it's possible. The subconscious mind will act as a compass guiding you into the right direction, and it can also act as a magnet drawing things to you. But this is not like a one and done deal. Within the realm of ceremonial magic, the key is to do these rituals daily. This is fantastic because you're establishing this link into the subconscious by use of ceremonial rituals, but you're also giving yourself a little set of time every single day to intentionally feel yourself reaching your goals, which is something that many people don't do. Now, all of this woo-woo stuff is not going to sound very good to people who think more analytically. Actually, you're going to want to cross over from the analytical mind into a place of intuition when it comes to working with the subconscious. You're going from a place of limited thinking with the analytical mind into a place of unlimited potential with the subconscious. Analytical thinking has its place and its purpose, but if you're interested in working with the subconscious, you're going to need to learn how to experience working with both analysis and intuition. Here's another thing that can help you with working with the subconscious, and I call this a thought triangle, but I guess you can call it whatever you want. Basically, one of the symbolisms of the triangle is to represent thoughts, feelings, and actions. These three things need to be in equilibrium, so let's go through each one. Working with the subconscious is partly going to be reprogramming thoughts. Pay very close attention to the quality of your thoughts. Think about the key of the magician and how what you're focused on is where you are feeding energy to. It doesn't necessarily mean that if you always think bad, that bad things will happen, but it does mean that you're going to see the bad more often, and the feelings and actions that you experience are going to be tainted with that type of energy. And think about what type of garden that you're growing when you do this. You see, we have this part of the brain called the reticular activating system, which is like filtering out all of this information, and it focuses on what's important to us. Like I said earlier, you have all this information coming at you on a daily basis, but your conscious mind focuses on the important details, and it's the reticular activating system that helps you do this. You decide something is important to you, then you start to see it everywhere. You find proof that something is real, and you start to see it everywhere. You buy that new car, and all of a sudden you see that same type of car everywhere. You learn a new word, and all of a sudden everybody's using that word. We can use this to our advantage by rewiring the thoughts that we think. We can change the beliefs that we have and find proof that these are true. Let's say that you want to quit eating sugar. Instead of saying, "I'm trying to quit eating sugar," of course you're going to want to change your identity to that of somebody who simply does not eat sugar. It's not even an option because it's not something that you would do with this new identity. Just like a non-smoker would never even think of smoking a cigarette. You just don't eat the sugar. But now you might need to find ways to prove to yourself that you are somebody who doesn't eat sugar. And that's going to take a little time to find these proofs, but once you find them and focus on them and meditate on them, you will start to experience a very strong shift. The reticular activating system is going to help you confirm this and even find more proof to back this up, which is going to build upon itself like compounding interest. Focus on your change. Make a list of proof that you have already experienced this change. If this change is something that is a little bit more difficult, then look for the proof in other people. Some people think that it's impossible to make $1 million, for example. It doesn't seem realistic. You're going to have to look at people who have made $1 million, and especially people who have come from the same types of situations that you come from. Now, for some people, it might sound impossible to quit sugar, but you're going to have to find people who have actually quit sugar who are in a situation that's similar to you. You can find this everywhere. There are a lot of people who have the life that you want and who created it from nothing. That is the magician. That is you. You create something from nothing. Now, we've talked quite a bit about feelings already, and the key is to feel the reality that you want to have now. Feelings are very important when it comes to the subconscious. You can use thoughts and feelings together when it comes to visualizations on the life that it is that you want and the changes that you would like to make. Of course, you want to have the feelings of hope and that this thing is possible and even probable. Spend your time honing in on your ability to feel through visualization. When it comes to actions, you need to act like the person that you want to become. Actions can be pretty simple. Act like that person who doesn't eat sugar. Act like that person who makes $1 million. Act like that person who's in a successful and happy relationship or marriage. You can't just do a bunch of magic and try to change your belief system and then go out there and act the same way that you've always acted. That defeats the whole purpose of this. You may get some results, but you've really got to use all three of these angles to the triangle to effectively change your life. If one of these things is out of balance, then what we are experiencing is cognitive dissonance. The next thing that I want to say is pay attention and listen. Things will come to you, information will come to you, and it will likely come to you through intuition once you are honing your ability to connect with the subconscious. Things might come through dreams. Like I said before, dreams are ways that the subconscious mind can communicate to you through symbols and feelings. So pay attention to your dreams, analyze your dreams on a regular basis, and it may be helpful to write down your dreams as soon as you wake up. When you do this, you're able to get feedback from the subconscious, and you're able to use this to your advantage, like doing shadow work as well as understanding if you're getting closer to your goals. I also should say that some of these goals and examples that I've listed are pretty materialistic, but honestly, this path is something that is very spiritual, and there are materialistic aspects to it. But honestly, there's something even deeper behind this materialism. It's not about the money. It's about the freedom that the money buys you. It's not about the relationship. It's about the connection and the depth. It's not about quitting sugar and looking hot. It's about not experiencing diabetes and heart disease and ill health. Focus more on what these goals are symbols for. Remember that you have the most powerful tools within you to transform your life. Now make sure to check out the description below because I have links to my courses. I have a course on studying tarot with the Kabbalistic Tree of Life, and I have a course on Kabbalah. I also have a great membership with an awesome community that focuses on Magick, tarot, and Kabbalah, which you can also see linked below. There's also a link to where you can book a tarot reading with me, and I'll also leave the link to my Patreon if you're interested in some live streams. And I hope that there was something new that you were able to take away from this video. If so, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe for more content. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.